working as intended. Okay, so if you didn't already know, when you run a map at a different tier than it's in your atlas, it has no influence. Up until today, I believed that this was a bandaid fix to combat permanent elder influence and shaper farming, but well, here's a forum thread, which is a bug thread where Zana shape mod not progressing atlas, using Zana shape mod yada yada yada, so basically you don't get progress. You can't move influence by running different tier maps. So let's assume that I had elder influence here, and this map was shaper influenced. I can't move the influence by running a shape mausoleum, even if it's like an actual T10 map that I have, or if I use the Zana shape +5 tiers. And in this thread, we have a GGG Andrew response. This was a side effect of fixing an exploit where using the Zana shape mod on a map would not remove the shaper elder influence. The new behavior is that if a map has a different tier than that on your atlas, it will not have influence, and hence won't progress shaper elder influence. For example, if you have a shape shore on your atlas that is shaper influenced, running a normal shore map or an elder shore map will not have shaper influence, or only a shape shore will. I understand that this change might have had unintended consequences. I'll bring it up with the team to verify whether this is intended or not. Okay, let's just get one thing right. Or, I don't know right, but about like, a small correction. This was a side effect of fixing an exploit where using the Zana shape mod on a map would not remove the shaper elder influence. What they conveniently leave out here is that not only didn't remove shaper elder influence, it allowed you to permanently farm elder guardian uniques, elder uniques, and shaper strongholds. So if you spawned a shape elder in a random T7 map, for example, if you run that map only as the shape version, you would have been able to fight elder and never remove it from your atlas. Actually, in my, I think it was update 2 of the league, I'll explain this a bit, because I encountered this like accidentally. I was just like, yeah, okay. And now he comes back with new behavior is indeed intended. Sorry, this was effectively communicated to players at the time of the change. So instead of this being a temporary fix and reverted once they fix the permanent influence farming shit, they decided to throw out all the other interactions out the window. Actually, let me just show you this if you have a hard time understanding, because I actually have a nice script here. So let's just go with the sort. So you have a shape. If you shape your underground C to T10 and open a T5 version of it, no influence, right? You use Zana shape +5 tiers, or like a T16 elder map, no influence whenever spawn, unless the map is already at that tier and you're using a lower tier of the map with the Zana mod. I just went over this. So here's the example of the. And at the early on in the league, the elder fight was also based on the tier of the map itself and not the base map. So if you actually had a elder in a toxic sewer and you run it always at T12, you were actually fighting a red elder. So obviously, the fix was needed to combat the elder influence farming and stronghold farming, and to smaller degree also the influence. Now, however, the way they fixed it fucks up with quite a few other cool mechanics and interactions, and it is intended to be like now. So it makes it makes no sense to me to completely remove the interactions permanently just to fix an abuse case. So fix the abuse case instead, and then return the interactions. So here's a couple examples. So it's not intuitive at all, right? If my map has influence, when I run that map, it should have influence. Anyone disagree with that? I think that's pretty good. Makes sense. Right now, it's not. You have to run the map at the same tier as it is in your Atlas to get influence. What? How are you planning to explain that to people in the game? Okay. Not being able to 3-to-1 shape maps and get memory fragments. So what this means is what you can do is if you have a shape map here. So we have a actually that's Elder. We have a shape toxic super here. Let's assume I have no other maps in my reds here. So what I could do is get my Elder influence into Mud Geyser, and then after obtaining 3 toxic, like shape toxic supers, I could do the vendor recipe for +1 level, so it would give me a shape toxic super at T13, and now I could run the T13 Mud Geyser with Elder influence, and I would get the memory fragment. So it removes that like strategy of obtaining memory fragments completely. So you kind of have to do like native red maps, so like these maps, in order to get the memory fragments. Except this can't be the reason for that, because you can already skip the memory fragments. Like you can skip immediately into T8, T9 and T10 Shaper Orbs by spawning a red Elder. So all you need to do is spawn Elder, not Guardian, but Elder himself in any of the normal red maps. And then every single Guardian fight will also be a red fight. That's a part of a Zana quest line for the memory fragments, which is different from the first 2. So the first one is just doing the Shaper influence maps up to T6, right? The second question is doing T7, then T8, T9, T10 up to T15, and each of those Elder influence map that you run from T8 all the way to T15 gives you a memory fragment that you can keep to Zana, that gives you a Shaper for that. Like this. So without having any of the previous fragments, well, obviously you have the first fragment from the first quest line from the T6 map, you can spawn the red Elder, and those Guardians, all of those 4 Guardians to kill will give you a memory fragment and Elder too. So you get a T8 memory fragment, 2 T9s, or Shaper Orb rather. So you get 1 T8 Shaper Orb, 2 T9s and 2 T10s, just from killing Elder. But you don't actually have to kill Elder. All you need to do is be able to kill 3 of the Guardians. Because the first one gives you a tier 8, like the memory fragment for tier 8 map. The second gives a memory fragment for tier 9 map. And then the third one gives you a memory fragment for the T10 map. So now that you have the T10 memory like Shaper Orb, you can actually just shape your map into a T15. And as long as you run this T15 map with Elder influence, you actually can get the memory fragments. So the 3-to-1 upgrade thing cannot be in any way or form a reason why they would keep this in like chains like that. It makes no sense, because you can already circumvent by skipping ahead and just spawning a red Elder instead. Not being able to shape your maps plus T5 tiers or Elder for Strongholds or any maps in general for farming items. The cost was already 15 chaos. I mean, you can argue that it's not expensive enough, but the items from the Strongholds were never able to be higher level than the map itself. So if you had a Stronghold in a T1 Ramparts, you use the Elder mod from here to make it to T16. When you complete the Stronghold, all the items that will drop, like the Shaper items, will be 83. So you can't argue that they did that so that you can't permanently farm high level like Shaper bases. And even if that was an argument, then you can just increase the cost or completely remove it instead. Way easier than changing the mechanic completely. Okay, you cannot move influence if you don't have the map of the tier on your atlas. For example, if you had the shape of T8 to 10, to T15, 13 to 15, you have to use the Zana mod. If you don't have the lower tier map. But once you shape your map, you can't find the lower version of the map anymore. So the only version is you have to buy the maps. So it's like, or do 3-to-1s from, for example, the only way for me to get a tier 7 Toxic Shoover is buy it from, like, RNG out and buy it from a Zana, get it in a Zana mission when running like T6 or T7 maps, or doing 3-to-1 from Temple or Warp to get it. So there are a few ways to get it, but it's like not being able to run high tier maps without actually having them in your atlas, right? So you could just unlock maps up to T10 and then always use the Zana mod, like plus 5 tiers to run T15 maps or T14 for T9 maps. It was also like 6 chaos for craft. So again, if it was too cheap, increase the price instead. So again, this is definitely not a reason for them to keep this change like this. So yeah, this completely kills the strategy of mapping with the Zana mods, unless you are fine running them uninfluenced. And this still works for Atlas objectives. Like you can shape or elder your map for higher tier to tag your Temple of Atsuatl, for example. So in the 3.5, when they brought back Incursion and the other older leagues, they increased the like they changed the equation for what the tier of your Temple of Atsuatl is. So it's the average of all incursions plus 10 tiers. So all you need to do is like run one incursion in a high tier map, and it allows it to be a 83, assuming that the average is 73. It's really easy to do. So that still works. You still can get higher tier maps for Zana missions. You have a better chance of encountering the beast for the Farul encounter. So if you know you need a tier 13 or above map to be able to encounter the beast for Farul. So the only one exception to this seems to be with Sulfite. And I have a lot of people say that the Sulfite is based on the base map tier. Or probably more often it's about the map being not the same tier that it's in your atlas. So what you could do is, if it's based on the map of your map tier of your atlas, you could elder your, like let's say that you spawn a Nico in an atoll, like the objective, you could elder this map into a T16, run the T1 version of the map, and get more Sulfite. I haven't tested this enough myself to say that's how it is, but if it's like that, it's still not very good, because you have to spend 20 chisels and 5 regrets every time you do that. But it's something you could do, I guess. So yeah. So are they just lying to us that it's intended to work like that, while they're trying to come up with a fix for the actual abuse case and the reason why they did this to begin with? Or did they just not find a way to fix it? And like, fuck it, let's change the mechanic and let it be like that. I actually hope that when Andrew went and asked for the team, if it's intended or not, that the people who know more about this just flat out lied to him while they're trying to fix it, or something like that. They have to keep in mind, when GGG dev says something, it's not necessarily actually even true. So them saying new behavior is indeed intended might actually not be true. I have an example of this. So you guys might remember from the patch notes, the total amount that you can slow the expiration of an effect of a character through time-slowing mechanics such as Temporal Chains is now capped at 75 from all sources. So a lot of people are like, oh shit, they nerfed Temp Chains and whatnot, but they really didn't. What this chains allowed them to do is introduce more items that have things like this, so that you can get the slower effect. So if you didn't know Shaper's presence, this is like Amulet from Shaper. It gives you a 33% slower expiration of pops. This is the exact same mod that you have in Temporal Chains as the second mod. But yeah, so let me show you. There's a thread not too long ago about Temporal Chains and 75% limitation question. So I know Gouda made a broken build that abused Temp Chains to 100%, but that's the slow. There's two different portions to Temporal Chains. Then they launched to fix it. A cap of 75% now applies to the action speed reduction caused by Temporal Chains and the effects on Enfeeble. So they capped the slow effect to 75. But there's a different, like another like a line / mechanic to it. Other effects on cursed enemies expire 40% slower. So such as flasks, wall right shows fire, etc, etc. So my question is, it's probably only GGG will know the answer. Is the second part of Temp Chains also capped at 75%? So basically asking if I get enough curse effect, will it go above the 75? Okay, so then we just go down a bit, and we have Mark saying yes, that value is kept at 75% to prevent bugs. Well, okay. I disagree. This is a video where we have 190% or above curse effect, and I am cursed by the Temporal Chains with that effect. To me, these are not moving. I don't know about you, but to me these look like permanent. Don't worry about the Ichimonjis, you don't actually need them for this. It's literally just increasing curse effect. Ichimonjis don't do anything here. So the only way you could do this was in PvP by having this belt. I don't remember the name of it, but it increases the effect of curses on me. So when I get cursed by something, it has a 50% increase for it. So we have a occultist here with a high, just scaling a lot of curse effect. Me using the belt, and that's not even enough. What you need is a dying breath that has 80, like nearby enemies have 18% curse effect or something like that. I don't remember the exact wording, but it is another 18% curse effect. So that was the only way to exceed the 190% cap, like the 190% curse effect, and it was soft capped at 75% effect. But if you had enough curse effect, which is 190%, it would actually go to 100%. So it went from 75 to 100% after you had enough curse effect. And so this is totally contrary what Mark just said in thread. And then we go to the next page where Mark comes back with, I was really hoping this wouldn't come up. So it hurts to say, but at all times they are not actually giving us the truth. So that's why I'm hoping that that's the same case here, that they're just saying that it's intended when it's actually not, and they just don't want to reveal us about the, you know, the other exploits behind this, and they're just trying to fix it. So, anything else I have here? Oh yeah, so you don't actually see the last line unless I do this. So I wonder if it's also intended that when you corrupt a shaped T15 map, that you're gonna get adjacent T11s, because you know the base T10 corrupted +1 gives a T11. So I wonder if that's intended, or if they're gonna fix this bug by completely removing the +1 corruption outcome from maps altogether. Because it would be in line with this change. Because this change, they say that this change was made to remove the abuse with the Shaper Elder influence, not any other reasons that I list here that got affected with this change. So it would be, you know, it would be consistent, at least. Yeah. Either way, I'm pretty dissatisfied with this. And yeah, I guess this came out to be a quite whiny video, but either way, this is just mind-boggling. That's all I gotta say. I'll see you guys later.